What's up YouTube, I'm Mike, and today I'm back with sort of a test experiment. I've been wanting to shoot a video for a very long time, going into the gory details of my sex life with my wife, because it has been a popular topic. I've tried to touch on this in the past. I made a video that performs very well on my channel called What It's Like Living with a Squirter. But there are so many other sexual details to our marriage that I think other people find entertaining, because a lot of guys are asking me like, dude, how do you get your wife to give you sex once or twice a day, every single day? Like, how is that even maintainable? How do you keep the spice alive in your marriage? How do you cope with these various different problems? I've been none too shy to talk about the extreme sexual problems that I've had in my marriage since day one due to my wife's very, very strict Christian upbringing. And so what I really wanted to do was to produce a video talking about, in gory detail, what our sex life was like in the beginning, how I even was able to get her out of the dysfunctional shell that she'd been existing in for the 6 years of her previous marriage, and get this girl who was used to having sex, like, you know, very, very rarely, you know, sometimes less than once a month, to having sex once a day and regularly finishing and actually enjoying the act, and all of the various problems that we faced and how we overcame them. Because a lot of these problems affect millions of people. It's not just me. Lots of women, lots of men have various sexual problems in their marriage. But the problem is that YouTube won't let me talk about any of these things in detail. Like, the second I start getting too specific about too many things to do with sexual behavior, the fucking video gets crushed and it gets demonetized, and it's just not worth trying to navigate it. So what I'm thinking about doing is recording that video in its entirety and uploading it to our free OnlyFans page. That way I can talk about whatever I want to say. I can give you all of the details of all of the various things that we've done to overcome a whole host of problems. So basically what I would be talking about in that video is how you can get your wife to give you sex every single day, if not multiple times a day. And I don't mean just give it to you, but be happy to give it to you. How to keep your sex life exciting. How to navigate when you start having sex once a day, twice a day. If you don't know how to keep things spiced up, this is gonna get very boring very quickly. So go into all of the various things that we have done to constantly keep sex exciting and entertaining and pleasurable for both of us. Most importantly, I would like to talk about how to overcome her, sexual dysfunctions in the marriage, whether that's a guy's ED, whether that is, bacterial infections that women get, yeast infections, period blood, wetness problems, pain from intercourse, cramps, bloating, headaches, the fucking kids are driving me crazy. Like, all of the common excuses or just real life events that occur. You know, some girls, my wife, I've talked about this openly on the channel, has struggled with BV infections since she was a child. We've been to God knows how many doctors and how many fucking courses of antibiotics, and her anatomy and my anatomy just do not mesh well, and so she has pH problems that lead to all of these variety of fucking things. And it was a problem that really nearly ended our marriage on more than one occasion. So I'm going to talk about how I turned something that seems to be an unsolvable problem into basically a fetish that now turns me on. And I want to talk in detail about the power of fetishes and how you can use those things to either reignite a spark in your marriage that didn't previously exist, or how you can use fetishistic, types of thinking to turn what would be otherwise negatives in your sex life into very extreme positives. And the brain is a really powerful thing. Like, it's amazing what you can do with your brain, and how you can move the goalpost, or put lipstick on a pig, or turn something that one day is like a fucking deal breaker and I'm about to get divorced into the next day is like the hottest thing in the world to you, and you actually crave it rather than despise it. I have done this with a number of things in my sex life with my wife, and so I want to share with you basically how I was able to accomplish that. Talk about the power of pornography in your marriage and how very, very productive and positive it can be. The varieties of porn we watch, why we choose to watch it, some of the more atypical things that we watch, and how we integrate that into our sex life and into our fantasy world. Because that's another thing that's really different between men and women and can really fuck guys up. Like it fucked me up in the past quite a bit early on in our marriage to find out just how active of a fantasy world my wife has, and it was not comfortable for me to find out some of the things that she thinks about. I think for a lot of men, if you polled your wife and said like, hey, what do you think about during sex? What do you think about like if you're masturbating by yourself? You might be shocked at some of the things that if she's willing to be honest with you, you might be shocked by some of the shit that comes out of her mouth. Or you know, if you sit down and say, hey, I want you to go through Pornhub and select 10 videos that you would like to watch. No judgment. Like, if you were totally alone, like, what would you pick? And if you could put her in a state where she feels comfortable being honest, dude, you might be fucking surprised. Like, girls are every bit as filthy fucking dirty as we are. And a lot of women feel like they have to repress that shit so that they don't create insecurities in the men in their lives. And they're right, because my wife's honesty has created insecurity in me on more than one occasion, and I had to do a lot of work to try to like fucking cope with her fantasy life. Because for men, I think we're always really black and white and linear, you know. So like men primarily, I think, fantasize about things that we would do in real life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're fantasizing about it, it's probably because we actually want to do it. One of the things that's fucking crazy about women is that they will be very aroused and turned on and fantasize about things that they find to be titillating inside of this locked room, you know, inside their brain, but would never actually engage in real life. And so that shit is difficult for a man to delineate, because the second your wife tells you like, oh, I was thinking about, you know, XYZ, and you're like, what? You want to do that? She's like, no, I just think it's hot. Our brains can't fucking compute that. Like, if we think something's hot, then it's because we want to fucking do it. You know, that's generally, I think most men, I think that's the way it is. And with women, it can be the absolute polar opposite. And so I think that one of the biggest breakdowns in communication amongst men and women when it comes to sex is women are never really free in their relationships to truly be honest with the men in their lives, because most of us are fucking fragile little bitches, honestly. Like, most men, we like to walk around like we're confident and secure and have all this ego and bravado, but your girlfriend says the fucking wrong thing turns her on, and all of a sudden you can be you know, very cut down to your fucking socks and very emasculated or whatever. It can be a mind fuck for a dude to hear some of the things that women might be interested in. So I would like to go into that in detail, if for no other reason to find out if, hell, maybe my girl's just a freak. You know, maybe I'm gonna leak all this shit in this video and other women are gonna watch it and be like, no, dude, we do not think about that. Your wife is a freaking weirdo. Who knows? I've done quite a bit of research on this, because I thought she was a freak in the beginning, and the more I researched, the more I found out apparently she is not. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. That's basically what that video would look like. I don't recall what is required to I think, you know, you don't think you have to have a credit card to create an OF account. I know a lot of people, it's like this big touchy subject, like, oh, I can't have an OF account. There's lots of content on OF that is not pornographic. People need to fucking wake up to that. It's a really good platform for being able to express yourself in a relatively censorship-free kind of way. And I think that we need to have more of a push toward that kind of, to putting, you know, a variety of content on these adult sites, because there's a number of other topics that I want to talk about. You guys are often trying to get me to talk about conspiracy theories. There's something going on in the state of Texas and really across the country right now where it's not beyond the realm of possibility that the Civil War could be breaking out. I mean, literally at any moment. And I have some very, very strong opinions about that I would love to share. But I don't always feel comfortable talking about this kind of shit on YouTube. And so if I put it on OnlyFans where there is sort of a commitment by the people who are viewing it that they had to set up an account that takes a little bit more vetting than just any old swinging dick can set up a YouTube account, and then, you know, just make it a little bit more difficult to get to, a little bit less public. You know, I can say things that, again, that I don't have to worry about a future employer easily coming across. I think that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm throwing this video out there to let you know that's what I'm considering. I'm open to pros and cons in the comment section. Do you think if I started producing content on that platform that was even more raw than what I shoot here, would it be worth it to you to create an account so that you can view that content, of course, for free? Or is that just too big of a step? I was actually watching a video the other day. People have told me multiple times in the past that I need to create a TikTok account, that would drive up my fan base on YouTube. And I was actually watching this video, I think it was actually one of the Todd Lee videos, where he was interviewing this female coach. I can't remember what her name was. I saw like a couple of minutes of it. And she made the statement that in her experience that was not true. That TikTok seems to be its own little world, and that her conversion rate of getting people who follow her on TikTok to come over and watch her YouTube videos was not good. And that she did not feel like it was a good way to invest your time, because the people on TikTok tend to stay on TikTok and they don't really come to other platforms. And so I'm curious if that's going to be true about YouTube. You know, if I start putting content on like an OF, or I think there's something called Rumble or something, where, you know, one of these other video hosting sites that's not going to be so harshly censored, you know, will people actually, you know, ever view the content? You know, I don't want to do it for fucking 20 fucking people. You know, my audience is already small enough as it is. Some of these videos, you know, only get 500-600 views. And so I'm just kind of trying to like flesh out this idea and see what people think. So there you have it. That's what I'm considering doing. Please, in the comments section below, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, if you'd be willing to make an account over there in order to view uncensored content. And look at it this way, man. You know, I'm doing you a favor. Like, you know, if your old lady maybe doesn't like the idea of you having an OnlyFans account, or you're concerned about having an account on what's otherwise considered an adult platform, you could be like, hey, man, I'm just going over there to look at bodybuilding content. You know, it's free and uncensored. Don't judge me. And then, you know, then you're already there. And if you happen to see something else on the page that you want to click the pay button on, then, you know, it just makes that whole transaction nice and smooth and easy. So that's the idea. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm gonna have some more video content coming out probably immediately following this. Feeling a lot better today. I think the COVID is finally clearing out of the system, so hopefully I'll be able to crank out some content. I was thinking about doing a little pose video, because last night, guys, I finally hit my actual number goal. I got 210.4 pounds on the scale with 6 visible abs. Yes, they're softer, but they are all 6 very visible. And so that's what I've been shooting for almost 2 years. I was up to 209, which made me technically obese, but to be up over 210 now is just a fucking dream come true. So I'm looking forward to getting this COVID the rest of the way out of my system and get back in the gym And let's see what's underneath all of this apparent water everyone's talking about. I don't know. We'll see what's under this frame. You can still see the cuts in my shoulders right here. I don't have any kind of pump. You can see the lines in my chest. So I'm clearly not a water balloon, as you can see. So maybe I'll do a video showing you exactly what my body looks like at 210 pounds. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and we'll see you on the next one.